mindset, uplift, manifest, momentum, mindset, uplift, manifest, momentum, mindset, uplift, manifest.
It is Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. You're running with the runners. An historic day in history here, Ricardo. We got another 1.9 trillion ready to be printed off those printing presses. So how you doing tonight, my brother? And as always, Ricardo's giving us the hashtag buy silver. I love it.
I'm doing good, brother, man. I'm fired up. I'm excited because, like we said, we know they plan. We know the outcome. We know the end game. And we're in position for winning. We're in position for success. We're in position for wealth. We're in position for legacy and assets. And so, 1.9 trillion is coming. The question is, what are you going to do with that stimulus check? Okay. What are you going to do with it? Because we're going to show you some places where you need to put that paper while it still has some value, where it can actually give you more financial security and possibly even create cash flow for you.
So there it is, guys. CNBC, House passes 1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. And, in the past, Ricardo, I would have been so upset right now. I would have been on Facebook, Democrats, inflation, national debt. And now I'm like, I'm positioned.
Yeah.
They have no control over my money now because I don't play their game. I went around their game. I now store my own wealth. And that's what we've been trying to teach you guys. Getting physical silver and gold delivered to your door on autopilot. We've been talking about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, NFTs, businesses, cash flow. So we're going to get into that tonight and really help you guys because I don't know when it's going to happen, but pain's coming. And we want to make sure that as many people are prepared as possible. We shared this last night, but I had to bring it up again because it still blows my mind. The stimulus bill is 1.9 trillion. The entire Bitcoin market cap is $1 trillion. So with the stroke of a pen, Biden and the House and the Senate are going to create more dollars than are already in the entire market cap of Bitcoin. And people are scared to get into crypto right now because they think they missed the boat. So Ricardo, again, help the people explain what's going on here.
Well, the only people who will be upset about this are the powerless. You see, it's the powerless that get upset and riot and protest. We don't do that because we know where the power resides. It's in us getting access to the information and applying it. It's in us voting with our dollars by saying we don't trust what you're doing with the dollar. We want to get assets. We want to do it in another monetary form. We want to do it in gold. We want to do it in silver. We want to do it in crypto. So we're going to extract and take the value of this money out of the system and put it into these real assets. And like Mike just showed you 1.9 trillion being printed, and that's greater than almost 2 times the market cap of Bitcoin. Well, that's enough to fill Bitcoin to 100,000 right there. Okay. So Bitcoin 100,000, it's coming. Okay. Oh, yeah. And altcoins are going to boom. This market is, this is why I get excited, folks. And this is why we tell you, share this out. We're not going live just, we don't have to do this, but people need this information. People need, to be in position because right now is the opportunity to build wealth, to create cash flow, to secure your financial future. Right now, they're printing it. They're printing trillions of dollars. Why save dollars when they're just printing it? It doesn't make sense.
And it's a little blunt, but Kiyosaki gets it right when he says only losers save dollars. He's blunt. He's honest because he wants you to wake up and get educated. So what up, Miami Mike? Good to see you. Liz Frank in the house. Raymond Ono. Junior Salazar, Oriana, what's up, girl? John, who we had on for the gala nodes, was in here. Linda Jorgensen, good to see everyone. So let's get into the market cap and then learn how we can profit from this inflation money printing. So, you'd think gold would go up, silver would go up on this news. No. Gold at 1727, Apple holding on at number 2 at about 120 a share, silver at 26.28. I guess we can look at it. It is up 3.3% on the week.
Yeah, they're coming off of their lows, but no, it's still massively, ridiculously undervalued. We're not seeing the type of movement in these assets that we're seeing in other markets at all.
And that's why you guys got to think long term. Like I say, every day you wake up and the banks are rigging the price of silver below $30, you should say, thank you, Lord, and buy silver. So huge day in crypto, Ricardo. Bitcoin flirted with its all-time high again. I think on some exchanges it broke. I don't think the daily candle will close, but we might go back down again. But looks like it's pumping back up. So Bitcoin at $56,000. I mean, it was at like 44, I swear, like a week ago.
Yeah, things are accelerating, folks. It's happening so fast that if you don't pay attention, it make your head spin. I mean, it really this is the era. Some people talk about moving into the. We've had Jasmine on, and other people like Coach last night. But we talk about things speeding up and accelerating. Okay, that's the era that we're in right now. People are becoming more aware, more connected. Things are speeding up. People are manifesting or attracting the reality that they want to see. And so that's why we're seeing this wealth here in crypto. I mean, look at those gains in the last week. And I feel sorry for people whose cash is sitting in checking and savings accounts or just under their mattress or whatever. It's a sad, sad sight to see, even in stocks, which is rigged up. But go ahead, Mike.
And remember, guys, none of this is financial advice, but almost every time I'm on here, I talk about theta. I keep saying theta. Every time I talk to Ricardo, I'm like, Ricardo, you don't have enough theta. You got to get your theta bags up.
Yeah.
So true. Here we are, 59% for the week, 20% today, and it's accelerating, guys. You used to have about a week where it would, stay within $1. So if we pull out to the month here, this time it was kind of below 3, then it was 4, then it was 5. Now we just broke above 6. So we're at 6.32 right now. And we're just getting started, guys, because in April, their mainnet 3.0 comes out with smart contracts where you can do smart contract transactions for like a tenth of a penny. They already have the streaming set up. They're solving the broadband problem. And, Ricardo, this is why I love doing what we do, right? I have told so many people about theta. I have sent so many free theta to people. One of my teenage high schoolers I used to teach, I sent him like 10 a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, I got $60, from 10 theta tokens that were like, 20 cents when I sent them. So, I love that we are in this position, that we keep teaching people about what is going on. And I'm going to give you guys a little nugget here. Those of you that are paying attention, I'm going to be diving into Polygon, which used to be Matic. And this is another cryptocurrency I am very bullish on and was buying it around 5 cents. So let's go 90 days. So look at it here, guys. This is when nobody wanted to talk about crypto in, December, January. And now Matic's up to, it's got above 30 cents. But what I'm doing is, if you've heard of Uniswap on Ethereum, I'm going to start using QuickSwap. So I believe there's no fees. I'm just setting it up tonight. but I will be having a video on that soon, and it's only going to release to the Runners Facebook group. So if you're not a member of the Runners Facebook group, we're going to start posting exclusive content in there. So you might want to check it out. Ricardo, anything else you want to add just when it comes to crypto or where the markets are moving or what we're seeing happen here?
Nah, just get in position. Don't be on the sidelines. This is not one of those things where you want to look and say, oh, I miss Google, or I miss Tesla, or I miss Amazon. No, this is not that type of a monetary revolution that's taking place. This is not just opportunity to make money in the markets or something. We're talking about a global monetary reset. There is no things going back to the way they used to be. There is a new normal, a new merging financial system coming into play, and it has to deal with what we're sharing with you. So it's bigger than just making money. It's about preservation of wealth. It's about legacy and quality of living, freedom. Okay, and so you don't want to wait. You want to take your stimulus and every dispensable income you have and acquire a lot of these undervalued cryptocurrencies, and especially physical silver. And we talk about it all the time. Cash flow is king, and it is, but take the cash flow and turn it into assets. So you never have to take your assets and turn them into cash.
Bingo. Write that down, kids. Write that down. That's money right there. If we can get that on a t-shirt, we need to.
Yeah, that's next.
So going off what Ricardo said, our main article we're going to look at here is from Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, who has been my financial mentor. I wish I listened to him more. I wish I had never listened to Dave Ramsey, but I learned from all the mistakes I made following him, and now I'm 100% Rich Dad Poor Dad. So how can you profit from inflation? From February 20, this is from last year.
Yeah, you could zoom in a little bit. Still relevant, of course.
See how close we can get.
Awesome.
So, I'm just going to kind of summarize some of this and read a couple quotes here and get Ricardo's take on it. But the middle class is screwed, guys. This is what we're talking about. This is literally every 7K presentation we ever do. We start with, why are you working more and getting less? And most people just say, well, I got to work more. I got to get a promotion. That's the rat race. That's exactly what they want you to do. So the middle class wages are only up 6%. Low class wages are down 5%. The ultra rich have increased by 41%. And now some people get into, class warfare, politics, eat the rich type of stuff. And that's how they enslave you. They want you to live in scarcity and blame other people for your problems. So what is inflation? The simple definition of inflation is when prices rise and the purchasing power of your currency drops. It means that you can buy less with your money than you used to be able to. All economies experience inflation and deflation at some point, but where it gets troublesome is when the income levels of a population don't track with or exceed inflation. In that case, people become poorer even if they think they're making more money. So even if you had a job where, let's say you got a 1% pay raise a year, guaranteed, you are losing. You are going to lose. You are falling behind. You probably need to make about 10% more a year just to stay even. And there's very few jobs you're going to get where they give you a 10% pay raise every year. So there's 3 causes of inflation, Ricardo, and then I want to get your take. Rising demands for goods can cause the supply to go down, thus increasing prices, like a hot housing market where the number of people wanting to buy a home is larger than the number of homes on the market. That's happening now. You can barely keep homes. Well, I was talking to Vaughn, a realtor I know, and he said, he was putting in 30 grand over asking, and they were getting outbid because people are buying so much. Rising costs of things like labor and materials. The one we want to focus on here is a fourth way inflation can happen is when the government manipulates a money supply, like the U.S. has done with quantitative easing, injecting more money into the system allows banks to issue more debt, which causes prices to increase, push too much into the system, however, and things can go very bad. And one last point before I throw this softball to you, Ricardo. Remember, guys, when that money goes into the bank, they're going to loan out at least 90%, if not 100% of it now. And same for all these people buying houses, or anytime you put money into a bank, they literally create it from that too. So we can talk about the Federal Reserve, we can talk about the stimulus, but you can't even forget about fractional reserve banking. That means they only keep a small fraction of the money you put in, and they loan the rest out to create even more dollars. So Ricardo, just what, do people need to be aware of this inflation and losing their purchasing power?
Yeah, I think it was Henry Ford, that said, if the people ever understood the present monetary system, there'll be a revolution, by tomorrow morning. And most people really don't understand modern money mechanics. They don't understand what's taking place and the ramifications of it, in their own home and in their government and moving forward. And so, inflation is a real thing. If you turn on the news and you'll listen to Janet Yellen right now, who was the Federal Reserve Chairman and now the Treasury of the Secretary of Treasury, but she'll say there is no inflation or this won't cause inflation. Well, what they're doing is they're manipulating the whole system and they're exporting the inflation. So we might not see the drastic inflation here, but it's in other countries. So very soon, you might hear in the summertime, there's a new Arab Spring, or there's something else happening outside the world. And really it was because of the inflation, because the prices of food in other countries are going up while their standard of living is going down. And then you have regime change and upset people and opportunities come in. And so all of this is all bad news, because most people can't pinpoint it down to what really took place. But when you look at what happened in the Arab Spring, even at that time, it was because of inflation. It cost too much to buy food. It cost too much to live. The people got upset. And that was because the value of their currency was crashing against the value of the dollar, because the United States has an unfair advantage where they can create value of nothing and just print as much paper as they want, and it has nothing to do with their economy. It has nothing to do with their minerals or resources. Like other countries, they have to have some type of accountability. Their currency is based off of something, right? The United States, it doesn't matter. We can have a crashing economy, and we have the ability to just print money. We're the only people that, or the only country that has that unfair advantage. And, so the inflation is real. And here we'll see the inflation in different ways. We'll see it in housing, like Michael mentioned. We'll see inflation possibly in crypto or even in gold or certain assets, because the dollar is going to look for yield. As they print more paper, the dollar goes down in value. People who have paper are going to look for places to put their paper where it's going to increase in value. Well, if they're suppressing the bond market rates, okay, so there's no yield in investing in bonds, okay, and that's why you see the stock market hitting all-time highs, because they're rigging and manipulating the price of that up, because they don't want the American people to wake up and realize that they need to take their money out of the market and probably put it in safer places like gold and silver, or start looking into crypto. So, it's all bad for those who are not awake to what's going on. But this is why I get excited about what we're doing with this show and the runners. We're helping people just grasp this a little better than they probably, had before, and also providing real systems and solutions to help them actually implement a strategy for themselves and their family.
Without a doubt. And I think if you've watched this for a month, you've probably learned more about money than you did in your economics and whatever, if you even took a finance class in high school. So the three types of inflation, we got creeping, the TLC inflation, I guess we'll call it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the Federal Reserve states we want 2% interest. So literally they're claiming they want the value of the dollar to go down by 2% every year. And that's not really what it is, because they, fix the numbers. It's really closer to 10. Then you have walking inflation, where you get to 3 to 4% territory, where it becomes harder for wages to keep up. And this is when people start to begin feeling poor. And I think we're just starting this, or we're going to start it real soon. Then you have hyperinflation, like is very famous in the Weimar Republic or in Zimbabwe. Some of the effects of inflation on wage growth. Most of the workers in the U.S. have seen their meager wage gains erased by inflation. Washington Post reports the cost of living was up 2.9%. The Labor Department reported Friday an inflation rate that outstripped a 2.7% increase in wages over the same period. The real wage, a federal measure to pay that takes inflation into account, fell to $10.76 an hour last month, 2 cents down from where it was a year ago. Why? Energy, housing, healthcare, car insurance, basic needs. Again, the only people seeing wage growth are high-paid folks. This is because companies are focused on rewarding high-skilled workers only with raises in what the Bank of England calls the massacre of the Dilberts. And, he says this is nothing new. It's been going on forever. And the effects of inflation is to make people poorer. The government's not here for you guys. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. You are a commodity to them to use. People who play by the old rules of money are hurt by inflation because they believe it is wise and prudent to save money in the bank. But the bank is smart, not dumb. And the bank plays by the new rules of money. They pay interest on money that doesn't keep up with inflation. Money loses purchasing power as the bank uses your money to make more money. So, Ricardo, I want to hear your thoughts on that. And I think, the money shot there is people who play by the old rules of money. And that's what, people struggle changing their mindset and adjusting to this new system. They want to keep going back to these old ways of, well, it worked for grandpa and grandma, so I guess I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah, there's no more middle class. They're getting rid of the middle class, and that's by design. They want to get rid of your economic base as they usher in the new economy, so you have less power, less resources, less ability to actually implement a better economy for yourself and have some real power. It's they want a feudalism type of system, just the rich and the poor, no middle class. And if the target of 2% is the inflation rate, like Mike said, but also they just showed you, I think 2.9% is inflation, and maybe the cost of living will go up at 2.7. You're not getting ahead. You're losing. So like Mike said, you might feel like you're making more money, but you're not really accounting for the rise in prices of the cost of living and the rapid fall of the dollar, and people aren't getting ahead. And this is why we say don't do what they do what they say, or don't do what they say, do what they do. So what are the banks doing? Well, they're getting ready for the new economy. Trust and believe, they're getting more gold and silver and assets. They're getting into crypto. Okay, they're doing it because they know what's coming and what's happening. This information that we're sharing with you is not a secret. It's well known. It's just that they make sure that the masses don't get this information.
And I just posted, I think last week, JP Morgan sent out a thing to their customers who put in over $10 million about, oh, by the way, you guys should probably buy some crypto. When 4 years ago, Jamie Dimon said Bitcoin was rat poison. Right. So everything they do, guys, you have to understand that is to throw you off. So, look at what they're doing and not what they say. So well, first of all, Ricardo, before we go into this, everyone watching out there right now, give me a hashtag silver for freedom. Silver, the number 4, freedom, hashtag wherever you're watching. We got YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. And before I forget this, Ralph, I'm sure we could make that happen. Go ahead to reach out to Ricardo or I, and we could look into doing that podcast for you guys and teaching people about crypto. So, how to profit from inflation. There we go. Give me those silver for freedoms, guys. The rich, however, have learned how to make money during inflation, leverage, and hedging. I play the bank's game. I borrow money from the bank at a fixed rate, buy a cash flowing asset that covers the debt payment, and using less of my own money increases my return on investment. In an inflationary economy, if the debt payment is fixed, it becomes less of a cost as the dollar loses purchasing power and my investments and income grow. So my take on this, Ricardo, would be an example of obviously what we talked about with Celsius. Okay. We're leveraging cryptocurrency. We're keeping possession of that asset. I'm also thinking about, if I have an interest rate under 3%, I don't pay it off. Why would I take dollars now to pay off a loan that's at 2 or 3% when the dollars are going to be worth less in the future? I want to stretch that out as long as I can because I don't want to use my dollars now when they're their strongest to pay off, 2-3% debt that I can pay off in 10 years when the dollar's worth way less. And I'm not, obviously, if you have some high interest rates, I get that. You got to use some math here, people. But Ricardo, what do you take from what he's saying here?
Yeah. So when I see this, I see 7K written all over it. He talked about in the top, he says leverage and hedging. A 7K is a home-based business that allows you to leverage the secrets of the wealthy, hedging against inflation by acquiring gold and silver, numismatic coins, precious metals. And then he talks about in the second paragraph, cash flow. We know cash flow is king. And in 7K Metals, that's how we create cash flow, by hedging and leveraging this system, saving our money. All right. Saving our money. And in the process of doing that, creating cash flow and receiving assets in this inflationary economy. So we don't have to deal with debt. We don't have to play around with debt. In 7K, we start a home-based business for $500, $499. Okay. We start a home-based business, which is a write-off. Okay. And it also allows you to have the ability to have deductions, write-offs and deductions throughout that fiscal year, as long as you have the intent to make money in your business. So one thing about all this money printing and inflation, well, somebody's got to pay for it. So taxes are coming, and they're talking about taxing the rich. Folks, they play the same game over and over, betting on your ignorance. The rich don't pay taxes. The corporations don't pay taxes, but you'll vote for the guy who says, we're going to tax the rich. And they say, yeah, they got all the money. We should tax them. And guess what? They tax the rich, and all the rich are going to do is in the tax code, they're going to pay nothing. Okay. Or they're going to pass the buck to you. You're going to go to their business and pay more for their iPhone, pay more for your groceries, pay more for your electricity, because they run and own everything that you need and use. So if the government wants to tax the rich are going to use their corporations and their leverage and power to tax you. So you need a home-based business that can reduce your tax exposure just like the rich do. Okay. You need a 7K home-based business that's going to allow you to create cash flow. Okay. And acquire these assets and utilize leverage and hedging and building wealth. So this is what gets me excited, folks. I know that I'm doing what they do. I know that I'm in position, and I know what I'm sharing is helping families create real, lasting generational wealth and legacy for themselves.
That point you made about corporations not paying taxes is so underreported and so not understood by general people. So what Ricardo's saying there, guys, is if let's say they raise corporate taxes 10% on Ford, what's Ford going to do? They're going to raise their taxes by 10%. And who's buying the cars? You. So you cannot, and most of the time they just move out offshore. Most companies are located in Ireland because they only have to pay a 12% corporate income tax. That's what Apple does. So all these, especially, hypocritical companies will say, oh yeah, we agree with this, tax the rich. Meanwhile, they're parking all their money in Ireland. All right, so let's read a couple more paragraphs here. The reason my investments and income grow is because I purchase assets that hedge against inflation. Silver and gold. For instance, in inflationary economies, rents generally rise. When I purchase investment property, the debt payment stays the same while my rents rise due to inflation. This creates more cash flow. I owe the bank only the agreed payment. The rising costs for rent flow straight into my pocket. The same thing happens for a business. As the cost of goods rise for consumers, businesses can adjust their pricing and benefit from inflation. This works because business owners and investors aren't selling time. They're selling products that hedge against inflation in relatively real time. They are in control. Employees aren't in control of their product, time, nor are they in control of their money. The bank or mutual fund is. One other thing I do to hedge against inflation is invest in commodities. Recently, that has been energy products like oil, a great investment when there is inflation, not great when there's deflation. Therefore, while I believe they are good investments for me, they're not good investments for everyone, especially for people that are still learning about the economy and investing who may not be able to react quickly to changing economic conditions. At the end of the day, what I've been preaching all along, invest for cash flow is the safest and soundest strategy that will serve you well in an inflationary economy. It's a sure way to grow richer. And I can't think of anything else, Ricardo, that just, puts an exclamation point on what we're trying to bring to people. How many shows have we done on cash flow? How many shows have we done on getting commodities? And, I get it. We all can't go out and buy houses right now. And you might not even want to with the way the market is. But we're talking about digital real estate. We're talking about NFTs. We're talking about decentralized finance where you can stake and earn passive income. So, Ricardo, just your take on the last, section that Kiyosaki had there.
Yeah, I mean, cash flow is king. We talk about assets all day, but once again, if all you have is assets, it's just a matter of time before you liquidate those assets because you don't have cash flow. So, cash flow is very important. Multiple streams of income is very important. Okay. Hedging against the inflation. This is why, once again, I believe 7K is phenomenal because it allows us to protect and leverage that very thing that we're talking about. Okay. Protect our wealth, leverage a system that allows us to create cash flow. And so, and another beautiful thing about it is that we get paid to share that with others. Okay. So it's not just wise information, that we're receiving. I think that anybody sees or receive this type of information, they will realize that they probably should do something different and leverage it as well. It's just about getting it out to the masses. And I think that the economic conditions that we are in will precipitate the need for more people to want to actually join and get involved into businesses like 7K, where they're reducing their tax exposure, increasing their cash flow, acquiring assets, and creating generational wealth. So, that's the secret right there. It's all about you applying the secret is where you're going to see the change and the magic happen in your life.
And Anthony Little, if you mean gold or silver, you're in the right place. Get with Ricardo or whoever invited you out to this live stream, and they will make sure you can get dealer direct prices of gold and silver, digital gold and silver, and have it automatically delivered to your house. So, Ricardo, I thought we should close out tonight. Maybe just check in with our good old friend, the U.S. dot clock.
Yeah. We'll see that go to 30 here. As soon as they pass a bill, what happens is the numbers accelerate, and we'll see it, getting to 30 here pretty quickly over the course of the next couple of months as they print that. But the economy is not growing, and they're talking about inflation is coming because of the pent up demand because of the coronavirus, and now it's summertime, and regardless, people vaccinated or not, people is going out. Okay. They ain't staying. We're not doing a whole nother year staying in the house and not going out and traveling, having fun. No, people are done with that. Okay. And so they're trying to get ahead of it. They're trying to anticipate and get ahead of natural human responses to an artificial environment that they created. It's the Hegelian dialectic. They're giving you options and they're all leading to the same result. But at the same time, you have to understand that we're living in a live experiment. Okay, the vaccines are not CDC approved. This is emergency response. So your lab rats you're being tested on There's no evidence or scientific evidence to say that these are safe, and everybody's just being tested on at this point. But look, this is the whole thing. They're going to play their game, and we're going to play our game. We're going to continue to get assets. We're going to continue to share information on how people can reduce their tax exposure and create cash flow for themselves. And we're going to continue to let people know that the global monetary reset is real, and that if you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you.
I think we got to do a show soon about becoming a silver millionaire. Because I haven't done the math in a little bit. I'm curious to see. I bet it's under 200 ounces now. So $1 to silver ratio, meaning for every ounce of silver, there's $4,923. But somehow the price of silver is $26. You let me know how that works out. Gold, $35,242 per ounce. So there's $35,000 to every ounce of gold. The crypto, dollar to crypto ratio is 1149 to 1. 2013, it was 8,682 to 1. So we're just going to see this continue to happen, guys.
Just scroll down. This is probably we need to talk about this more. As if you see, it says U.S. unfunded liabilities. So the unfunded liabilities is Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff. These promises that they promised the baby boomers. And right now the U.S. and even us, people are still paying into it, okay? But the U.S. unfunded liabilities is 159 trillion with a T. That's 159 trillion that they owe the people. That's not overseas debt. That's this what they owe the people. Medicare, Social Security, it's 159 trillion. And we're over 28 trillion with the national debt, and then we're only producing, 3 trillion a year or something, up to 21 trillion or something. It's unsustainable, folks. It's unsustainable. And these are the numbers that we see. Trust and believe is worse. Okay, because when you start talking about the derivatives market is 4 times global GDP. Okay, so whatever the value is that the world produces, okay, whatever that number is, the derivatives market, okay, is 4 times that. Okay, but the U.S. unfunded liabilities alone, over $159 trillion, a number you can't even fathom. You couldn't even count that high in your lifetime.
So I guess let's end this on a good note, Ricardo. It does say there's $479,000 assets per citizen and 483 of debt. Oh, I guess that's still more. Well, at least it's only what, 40,000?
Well, yeah. If you have to understand that they use the terms they use the term citizen, and the wealthy are citizens. Bill Gates or Warren Buffett is a citizen. They're probably encountered in that too. It's the 1% and divided that amongst everybody else. So it's not the average person that's sitting on that. No, not at all.
And guys, it's all about creating the reality you want to live in, changing the culture, changing people's minds. So if you believe in, what we're doing here, feel free to come and get some champion hoodies to support the runners and really to awaken people of what's going on, to have assets over liabilities. I mean, financial literacy is not difficult. It just takes consistency and focus. If I can just teach my kids to get assets over liabilities, I know they're going to be fine. We got Stack Like a Queen. This is one of my favorites since we talked about Kiyosaki today. We got God's Money, Gold and Silver, and the People's Money, Crypto. So the runners.shop, if you want to be a next level wealth builder, got the Silver Eagle champion hoodies. So that is available. The runners.shop if you guys want to check that out. Ricardo, anything to add before we close it out tonight?
Nah, man, phenomenal show, man. I hope you guys share this out. I hope you like it, subscribe, help people get, this information. If somebody sent you this information or this video, get back to that person who's sharing this on their YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform they're sharing it. Get back with them. More than likely, they're able to help you get in position. Now, I mean, hey, look, Salt Lake City, for those of us that are running with the runners in 7K, get ready. Salt Lake City, major news coming out. We'll see you guys in May. Besides that, man, we'll see you guys tomorrow night for the next Runners Live show.
Tomorrow night, team training, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on our Zoom channel. So if you want to get plugged in, get some inspiration, get some training, or see what the team's all about, anyone's welcome. You don't even have to be a member of 7K. We just get on 2 times a week as a team and, do some training, understand how 7K works, how to leverage it, and how to win. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
The link,
we love you, we'll believe you.
Yeah, she said the link, one thing, the runners.shop. The runners.shop is the link for the merch, the runners.shop. All right.
That's it.
Good night.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.